Oh, we got a great episode of the Opie Radio podcast. I'm going to go and babble on my live stream for a little bit. As you know by now, live streaming most mornings on my Facebook and on my YouTube. So we'll babble a little bit on that, and then we're going to get to Pat Duffy. All right, let's get things going. This episode sponsored by Manscaped.com. Use the promo code OPIE, O-P-I-E, to get 20% off.
Hey, Benjamin Tucker, what's going on? Good morning. Good morning, Jeff May. How are you? Just getting started here. What's up, Lisa Connor? Hi, GH. It sucks because when we get these rainy mornings like this, we can't bring the dog out to the beach because he comes back like he's a breaded chicken cutlet. He's got sand every fucking where. So it makes for a nightmare. And there's not much road where I live either, so he pretty much will shit on the deck today. That's his life, and he doesn't understand any of that. He's like, why aren't we on the beach? We're usually on the beach this time of day. Why? Because greetings from Norway, sunny here and minus 55 degrees. Ole Vandol, or something like that, but you got the two dots over one of your letters. I don't know how to pronounce that shit. Well, welcome, Norway. Brother man. What's up, Pat Duffy? Happy birthday to your daughter, my friend. Pat Duffy's a damn good father. 55 degrees Fahrenheit. Oh, I thought you said minus 55. I'm like, where the hell are you? I think you put a dash in there. And then that dash, I was assuming, was minus 55 degrees. But happy birthday to Pat Duffy's daughter. I think she's now 3. That's fucking nuts. Who would have thought that Pat Duffy from the past would have been a really good father? No offense to you, because like we've discussed on the podcast, we've discussed personally. I was scared of Pat Duffy when he worked for the O&A show. He was fucking nuts. And then it turns out he's one of the more normal guys. And he's a father of 2. Works his ass off. I think it's about time we get you back on the podcast, don't you think there, Mr. Duffy? Does Pat Duffy feed his daughter like a baby bird? Paul Spinella, Jesus. I think we should tap out right now, man. I don't think it's going to get any better than that. Jesus Christ. God damn, I just got $20. Sorry, kid doesn't make a lot of money these days. Jay Hale, $20. Oh, you get a lot of crap, but you were so important to the greatest radio show of all time. Oh my goodness, you were great on O&A, and I missed those days. F. Wig Stern. Wow, thank you. I don't give a fuck about the shit I get. I know what I did for, I would say, one of the greatest radio shows of all time. I absolutely would say that. And yeah, the people that know. Unfortunately, you get people that decided to pick sides, and then they gotta dig in and fight day after fucking day. But thank you, buddy. That means a lot. I mean, the $20 means more, but no, I'm just kidding. Thank you. You just made my morning, brother. Cheers. Bob Lord, they were great times, but it's time for the new chapters. Well, oh my goodness, I just got $50 from BT. Cut your hair, brah. Oh, Benjamin, you fuck. Benjamin Tucker moved over to YouTube. Benjamin Tucker, thank you, buddy. Benjamin Tucker, no joke, has given me a lot of money on these live streams, and I'm not going to lie to you. I really, really appreciate it. I don't really make a lot of money these days. I'm not complaining, but like I told you yesterday, you want to know something, just ask and I'll tell you, because everyone else is trying to like just throw bullshit out there. Yeah, the fact is, I don't make a lot of money. My podcast does well, but it doesn't sell a lot of ads. And because a lot of people download it, I get killed with bandwidth charges. Like I get destroyed by bandwidth charges. And the advertising, the advertising covers it, but it doesn't leave any not much extra funds coming in. That's all. And I'm not crying poverty. I'm just being truthful. Easier to get a comment through on YouTube. Numbers aren't as high here. Yeah, my YouTube channel sucks. I used to have an amazing YouTube channel, and then I just let it go to shit. So I'm slowly but surely trying to revive it. So yeah, over on YouTube, I don't get a lot of people on the live streams, but I'm gonna watch that number grow day after fucking day. Gary Krasinski, okay, Opie Truth. The day your wife fell on the ice and broke her shoulder, what did you do with the groceries, you son of a bitch? Oh, the shoulder. God damn it. I want that one back so badly. I knew that those stairs were really, really icy, but we're still in the midst of the ice storm, so I couldn't get salt down and break up the ice on those goddamn stairs. So now we're in copay hell. That'll be $50. We didn't do anything yet. Yeah, I know, but as soon as you walk in the door, it's $50. And then she goes to rehab, and they lift her arm up for her like 10 times, and they go, "That'll be $50." But doesn't our insurance? Yeah, but that's the copay. Copays are fucking brilliant. I've talked about this before, but copays, I want to be mad at that, but it's fucking brilliant. I wish when I was doing a radio show that every guest that came through that goddamn studio door, and a lot of them, we helped them more than they helped us. Although a bunch of those guys obviously brought amazing content to the radio show, of course. But then there were a lot of people that came through that we had to pretty much carry them on our fucking backs. I wish I was in the copay program. For every person that walked through that door as they're leaving, I go, that will be $50. And they would go, for what, man? I just came in to promote my show in Phoenix. I go, yeah, it's a copay though. It's a copay. It's a insurance scam. Yeah, but somebody had to come up with a copay. And then I guarantee people like, no one's going to fucking buy this. No one's going to just pay $50. Oh, yeah, you watch. And then one doctor figured it out, and the rest said, this is fucking brilliant. Now we have lunch money all day long. Can I use your bathroom? That'll be $50. Yeah, but it's a copay. All you have to do is say it's a copay. And there's no argument anymore. Oh, look at Michael Pelka's made it into the Facebook room. Mr. Fuck Democracy. How are you, Mikey baby? I just want to get him going. Mikey. Mikey was close to storming the Capitol. Because the last time we talked, you said you were going down to Washington for that big, what was it, the big rally? What's up, Mike? Stupid politics. That's my name, Mike says. It's stunt brain, everybody. He really believed in the Trump. And to the point he got mad that I didn't believe in the Trump. I'm sorry. Oh, you smelled that there was going to be a problem, stunt brain? Okay. Do you believe that they should impeach President Trump with everything we know about the storming of the Capitol? Knowing that Trump was kind of for saying F democracy. Now, they're going to have a trial in the Senate, but they already know that he's going to be acquitted. What's your thoughts, stunt brain? And you have to do it in the comments quickly as everybody else is flying by with their comments. Because I think they only got like 5 Republican senators, I think, that will vote for impeachment. I just don't want to ruin our friendship, Mike, over stupid politics. You hear? You hear me? Mike says, Opelka stunt brain. Nope. If you do, you must impeach Bernie for nearly killing Steve Scalise. Oh, wow. You do the whataboutism game. Strong. I think they're all playing the same game, Mikey. That's what we used to talk about on the old radio show. They all play the same game. Never lost me, not over politics. All right. I like hearing that stuff, brain. Well, I think Bernie Sanders got fucked because I think that was the candidate the people wanted on the other side. And they fucked him 2 times now. That's why he showed up at the inauguration looking all comfy, sitting there like, fuck all this. This is all bullshit. I should be the candidate. The people wanted me, and my own party fucked me over. We all know that. There was a time Joe Biden was dead in the water, and they propped that motherfucker up. Yeah, that's because Bernie's an independent and not a true Dem. Warren, yeek is the princess. I hate them all. I hate them all. I hate them all. I've tapped out. I think that's one reason why I didn't want Trump reelected, because I really didn't want to spend more time on him. As we're spending a little time on him this morning, I understand, but since Trump went bye bye, I could see my life has improved. I don't know. Maybe Biden fucks everything up. I don't know. I think it's too early to tell. But the one thing I can tell you is that in my house, we're like, holy shit, we're not watching cable news as much. I looked at my son and went, oh my God, you're 4 inches taller. When did that happen? Like, I'm focusing on other things is my point here. And it feels damn good because Trump is brilliant at getting people to talk about him. He is brilliant at that. I said that from the jump, as the kids like to say. Biden is a bore. So when I do watch cable news just to see what's going on, now I can watch for a segment, know what's going on, what they're trying to do and work on, and then I turn off the TV and I've been watching a lot more documentaries, and it's been nice. I watched that dumb show on Netflix called Repair Shop, I think it's called. It's so boring and slow, and I'm like, you know what? This is my speed now after a Trump presidency. I'm going to watch this guy fix this clock that hasn't worked in 20 years. But what pisses me off about that show, and I'm sure there's not one person watching this right now that even watches the damn show, but they reupholster chairs. And these people will come in like, oh my God, this chair means everything to me. It's been in our family for generations and generations. Pop used to sit on this chair and I would sit on his knee. And it would be really wonderful if you could bring it back to life. I'm like, all right, that's a good story. Let me check this out, right? And then they got an expert that takes this chair that is everything to this family that's been in their family for generations. They strip it all the way down to the frame and rebuild the chair and hand it back to them like it's still the same chair. It's not the same chair at that point. All brand new cushioning and springs and fabrics, and they hand back the chair. They're like, oh my God. And I'm like, you should have saw it a few hours ago when it was just a wooden frame with a tiny little metal left on it. They got rid of everything that made it a special chair. Does Yopster ever come out, or is he retired? Blair James Stewart wants to know. I don't understand your question, sir. You mean like me being a dick? Grandpa Opie and his upholstery shows, Gary Krasinski. I'm also watching the Fran Lebowitz documentary series with Martin Scorsese. It's wonderful, man. She's a humorist and she's a curmudgeon, and it speaks to me. And she talks about a lot of things that probably all of us can relate to. And she talks about a lot of stuff about New York City. It's great. It's like 7 or 8 episodes. That's the one I really like that I'm turning people on to right now. And if you watch, you got to focus on Martin Scorsese. They do a lot of scenes where they're talking in front of an audience at theaters and stuff. And Martin Scorsese has all sorts of tics and will just start laughing uncontrollably out of nowhere, although Fran Lebowitz is very, very funny. And then he'll just stop on a dime, and it's really kind of creepy. It's almost like he knows he's supposed to laugh at that moment. I'm not really sure if he's actually listening to what she's saying, but he's reacting in a way like he feels like he should, if that makes sense. Oh, I think they are saying that used to be Greg Hughes, the actor who plays Opie. I remember when you said this is the Opster or this is Greg Hughes, the actor that plays Opie, usually in opposite situations, respectively. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, when you're on the radio, it's an exaggerated, it's an exaggerated version of your personality. Um, I try to explain to people, but they don't understand it. Like the stuff I used to do on the radio, I have no regrets. If we sat here for 2 hours and you guys brought up stuff, then maybe, but there's a lot of things I did that I probably forgot about, God, 10, 15 years ago. But when you're on the radio, it's an exaggerated version of your personality. It certainly is part of me, but you turn on a mic and you're talking at one point, holy fuck, man, it was millions of people a week. So you pump up your personality, and it's an exaggerated version. I try to tell people, like, if I walk through life acting like that, how I did on the radio, I would get punched in the face every single fucking day. So I guess that's what I mean by that. And my dad, he loved the radio show. I've explained this, but I'll explain it again here. My dad was a huge fan of the show. He called in a few times way early when me and Anthony were at WNEW. He was a mess medically, but he really liked the show. And when we would get together and do a lot of breakfasts together in Northport at the Shipwreck Diner, if you need to know, a nice little spot in Northport. You have a little meal there, and then you walk down to the harbor and take a little walk. Oh my God, I just sounded like Bill Burr there. A little bit, relax, I know. He would sit me down and he goes, dude, I love your personality on the radio, and certainly that is partially you. He goes, but why don't you let the other side of who you are out? And I thought that was stupid. I thought that was just stupid and dumb. And then, unfortunately, I had my dad dies in 2004. And then at that point, what he said to me kind of started sinking in. And then I allowed myself to put more of my real self on the radio. Even right now, as I do this live stream, this is an exaggerated version of me. But I would say this is closer to who I actually am than a lot of the years on the radio show, if that makes sense. I don't know. I think it's almost impossible to turn this on and just be completely yourself. Because I know there's people out there, they want to be entertained. They're hoping maybe to laugh. So, I'm here feeling the pressure, and I'm like, okay. I mean, if it was just me right now, I would probably be talking a lot slower. There'd be a lot of pauses, but I feel kind of the urgency of this, if that makes sense. I hope that answered your question. Primordial, what are you doing, Primordial? Okay, I'll have to check out Jim and Sam. They are a little more friendly and welcoming. What does that even mean? Well, have fun. Have fun doing that. I couldn't tell you anything about that show. I do know that it never hits my radar. That could be the first time it actually hit my radar. I mean, if someone said, "Hey, are Jim and Sam still on the radio at Sirius?" My answer would have to be, "I don't know." Now I could go on Twitter and maybe go on their show account, and then I would go, "Oh, okay, they're still on the radio." That is the truth, my Pat Duffy. Fuck Sam Roberts. I wish I listened to you back in the day there, Pat Duffy. But that is a true answer. I would have to say I don't know, because it doesn't hit my radar on a regular basis. No one around me talks about it. My Twitter is pretty much clean. It doesn't talk about their show. They can't possibly be doing well and building an audience. I think they're just left with the scraps of the old Opie and Anthony show. I think that's who's left over there, and one reason why they kept him, I guess, just to get the last bit of coins from the Opie and Anthony audience that we brought to Sirius XM back in the day, because that audience has dramatically dwindled over the years. So, and this guy says jealous Opie. Jimmy Ital, jealous Opie. No, I just answered the question. That's how I feel. I'm telling you the truth. Why would I be jealous? I mean, you could go about your own life and go on your own social media, and what I said would be exactly the truth. There's no buzz on that. There's buzzes on podcasts. There's no buzz on Howard Stern at all where I sit. Honestly, full disclosure, they took away my Sirius XM, my VIP account as soon as they got fired. They wanted to make it hurt. And I kind of liked a few of the channels. I never really liked any of the talk channels, to be honest with you, but I liked the Pearl Jam channel and a few other things that they had over there. But they took my shit away immediately. So I have no access to listen to Sirius XM at all. So what I'm saying here is based on people around me and my social media, and I hear literally nothing about them. And that's the fact. What I do hear, I hear about Joe Rogan. I hear about Bill Burr and Bert Kreischer, to name a few. The Bodega Boys. And I should add, because I am honest, no one's talking about me. I know I'm dead in the water. I'm not stupid. I'm not sitting here trying to say that the world is talking about Opie and his podcast. I do okay, but I'm not in that discussion. People talk about the Rogan Show and the Bert Kreischer and the Bill Burr. I'm trying to think of a few others out there. Chris Stefano's got a bit of a buzz. That Tim Dillon has a bit of a buzz. Those are the people that are talked about when you go about your life. Tom Segura, yeah, you got to add him to that discussion, and Joey Diaz. But no one's talking about Jim and Sam. Holy fuck! Don't get mad at me because I just told you the truth. Dan Gingras, you're doing more than okay, brother. I'm doing all right. And I left Anthony out of that discussion because I do I do hear about Anthony a lot because he decided to turn his whole audience against me. So, but I don't know but I know that's more about just a fucking tsunami of hate that comes from him than actually his actual show. I don't know anything about his show. I would assume it's still incredibly conservative, right wing talking points. I would assume that. I don't think he left that world, but I don't know. I don't tune him in. I've explained that. I've tuned him in very minimally since our show broke up 6.5+ years ago. Very minimally, and I couldn't even tell you the last time. The last time has to be a couple of years easily. Yakov Smirnoff, George Salvi Jr. with the question mark. That's about a year ago, I think. That was one of the last episodes of the podcast I did in New York City, and then all hell broke loose after that. But Yakov's like, you got to meet me in my hotel room. And I'm like, what the hell is this about? What a country. And I called on Mike Sappho, he helps with the podcast. Not as much lately because I'm over here and he's over there. But we still keep in touch. And I go, Mike, Yakov Smirnoff wants me to go to his hotel room for the podcast. He goes, I'll be right over. I'm like, thank you. That's why I was calling. So we go over there, and I have to sit on a love seat with Yakov Smirnoff and podcast with him awkwardly with a camera just pointing at this couch. And I don't know what was going on in that hotel because as we're walking, and we already started recording as we're walking toward his room, there was a gay guy walking the hallway right behind us, and he was basically doing catcalls towards me and Mike Sappho, and he was hoping that me and Mike were a thing, and he was going to join us. I'm like, what is going on in this hotel? And then he walked by us after he whistled a couple times, and then we turn around, and there's Yakov Smirnoff also walking down the hall. And then long story short, we went in and did a fine episode of the podcast. Becky says, that was a good one. So uncomfortable. Ha, ha, ha. Rachel Grinder meetup. What the Rachel beats me up every day now. I don't know what that's about. I wouldn't mind if it was just Opie and Anthony without Jimmy. Oh, boy, that's a discussion for another day. Jimmy was incredibly talented. I said was because I don't really know much about Jimmy these days. I know he started obsessing about his stupid cartoon voices. But Jimmy fit in perfectly when he first came on board. And then over the years, and shit happens, things change. And obviously, Jimmy and Anthony got very, very close. And I think the show, I was odd man out. I'm not going to lie to you. And I think in a lot of ways, the show got better when it started changing. But I also think it got worse. Uncle Paul makes me puke. You guys are trying. Not today. Not today. Rachel goes, I know none of these fools Opie is speaking about. That's really fascinating to me. Rachel is a new fan. She is a fan I picked up when I started podcasting. I find that really fucking cool. Like I said, I have no regrets about the past, but, in the end, the Opie and Anthony show will always be the most important thing to a lot of people that I did in my career. But to me, it was just one of the many stages. To me, right now, I loved doing the podcast with Carl and Sherrod and Vic Henley and Krista Stefano. I loved that little stage just as much, if not more. I think a little more time would have to go by, and then I could really fully think about it. But I was a bitter man when that Opie and Anthony show ended. So when I started working with those guys, I really started enjoying myself again. Onward and upward. Well, I think you gotta keep moving forward, no matter what you do in life, right? You and Mark Norman would make a good radio show. Give it a shot. I try to get him on my podcast, and there were a lot of there were a couple times where he never even responded. To be completely honest with you, and so I just had to kind of let that go. There's another real answer. Like I said, you want to know the answer to something, just fucking ask. Stop making shit up. Okay?
I'm so pumped because Pat Duffy's going to join the podcast in just a second here. But first, I want to talk about Manscaped.com. Use the promo code OPIE, O-P-I-E, to get 20% off and free shipping. Great gifts for the man in your life. Hey, fellas, we're in the thick of winter and storms are brewing. It looks like 1 to 3 inches are in the forecast. So when are you going to trim that hibernation bush that's taking place in your pants? Luckily, our partners at Manscaped specialize in products to make sure you're walking around town with beautiful snowballs. Manscaped is here to provide you the best tools for your grooming experience, offering precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. They want me to talk about my Manscaped razor. I've told you everything I can tell you about this damn thing. I've shaved everything. The next thing to go, I'm going to take the razor that's for my balls and I'm going to shave my head. Oh, yes, I am. They got the Lawnmower 3.0 trimmer. It's the best hygiene tool for the modern man. Because of their ceramic blade and advanced skin-safe technology, your snags on your snowballs will be reduced. The trimmer is also waterproof, so you can trim in the shower or jacuzzi if you're a savage. Manscaped's Performance Package is the best buy of 2021. The Performance Package comes with the new and improved Lawnmower 3.0, Weed Whacker, ear and nose hair trimmer, performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag. Look, have you ever noticed how nasty nose and ear hair is? Of course you have. Don't be that guy. In fact, 79% of partners polled admitted that long nose hair is a major turnoff. This bundle also comes with the Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant and Crop Reviver Ball Toner. The Crop Preserver is anti-chafing ball deodorant that will make your balls smell nice and make you feel like your testes are walking in a winter wonderland. The Crop Reviver is a spray-on toner for your balls. It's made with soothing aloe and witch hazel extracts that will make your balls look up at you and say, thank you. 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use the code OPIE, O-P-I-E. Don't forget to use that. It helps me out. That's 20% off with the free shipping at manscaped.com. Use the promo code OPIE, O-P-I-E. Hey, thanks, Manscaped, for making our winter wieners look so good.
Ladies and gentlemen, Pat Duffy.
Good morning. I'm a little off guard because naturally with kids you run late. So I was like, all right, I'll be at my spot. I'll be good to go. And now I'm still just driving there. So Bear with me for a second, but I can hang, you know.
I'd rather have you on the live stream while you're driving because there's always that potential that you could be in a pretty decent car wreck. Not that you would be dramatically injured or dead or anything, but it would just it would add some excitement to this thing.
I've watched enough man, live streams his own death videos, so that'll be nice to join that club.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Speaking of which, during the latest episode of the podcast with Mike Bichetti, he kind of had a medical issue in the middle of the recording of the damn thing, and I just left it in the podcast.
I'm always primed for a heart attack at any point, so I'm ready to go.
No. How old are you now?
35.
There's a couple things. If you make it to like 42 without a heart attack, then you're going to make it to 74 is the next age. And then if you make it to 74, a lot of people die when they turn 74. Look it up for yourself. But if you make it past 74, then you go all the way to 90. That's how it works.
Do you even want to get to 90, though? Because by that point, everything hurts. You can't even stand up without help. My dad just turned 69, and
right.
I was like, all right. He goes, I got maybe another good 10 years, and then just get rid of me. So, I mean, I kind of agree with that logic. I don't know how long you really want to go.
Well, I've been around long enough where when I was growing up, 90 looked horrendous. It looked like a rotting apple just sitting in a chair. But now, man, you see it all the time. 90 is not as bad as it used to be.
But the thing about it is, I live too hard at 35 to look good at 90.
But you got to keep it together because you're you got 2 kids now there, Pat. I cannot believe I said it yesterday that you're a father. You got a 3-year-old and I think you got a 10-year-old.
Yeah, I got a 3-year-old daughter and a 10-year-old stepdaughter. So and that's why I don't live as hard as I do anymore because I got to stay alive for them and I got to be as good as I can for them.
Wait till your kids get older and they start commenting on what you're eating. At this point, I'm not allowed to eat ice cream anymore, and I want to take my kids by the neck and go, "Do you realize what I used to fucking do? This is nothing."
Well, my 3-year-old's on a kick right now where all she wants to eat is pickles and cheese.
Well, yeah, but you learn that these kids can pretty much eat anything. They're garbage cans, and then food doesn't really affect them at all. They just rock and roll all day long with their energy. You eat one shitty meal and you'll feel it for 2 days.
Oh yeah, no, I've been doing the intermittent fasting because I'm trying. I'm trying to just live a little healthier, and it's like I find myself like if I wait all the way to the end of my fast and then I eat something shitty that I shouldn't, I feel it for like 7 hours. It's the worst.
100%. I hear you're getting in a little trouble on online there, Pat Duffy.
Yeah. So, like I said, my favorite show of all time is The Walking Dead. And I love that show. So they put up a post the other day. Like, I don't know if they hired new social media people or whatever, but they've been doing a lot of like quote unquote woke posts. Yeah. And there was a post on there the other day that was like, if you're bothered by the amount of LGBTQ plus people on our show, then just go ahead and unfollow us. So the amount of people that are on that show is unrealistic. And I understand that it's a show about zombies, which is unrealistic to begin with. Like, I get that. But the amount of LGBTQ plus is unrealistic in the amount where in a show where the setting is 90% of the world's population is dead, the amount of those people, I can't say those people, LGBTQ plus is unrealistic. Like, say you have 100 people, like the whole cast across 3 shows is 100 people. And there's like 10 to 12 LGBTQ plus people. And if you go with the total population in the world, there's like 2 to 3% in America anyway. I shouldn't say the world. So it's just unrealistic. So all I said was, doesn't bother me at all, but I think that it's unrealistic the amount of LGBTQ plus people that are on the show. And holy shit, am I getting dragged? Like, it's unbelievable how dragged I'm getting on Twitter. And like, everybody thinks I'm a piece of shit and I'm a bigot and a homophobic. And I'm like, I'm not homophobic. The reality is that I don't care. Like, you do whatever you want to do. I don't care. And I just was pointing it out for, coming from perspective that if 90% of the world's population was gone and you had a group of 100 people, you would maybe have 2 or 3 people that are that persuasion. And there's people on there that are replying to this. It's got like hundreds of replies where people think I'm the biggest piece of shit that ever walked the earth. And
Right.
and it's amazing because you can't get a word in edgewise with anybody, so I don't even care. Like, I've just ghosted the whole thing pretty much. But you have people that on there like, I've never seen the show, but I'm so happy to see the representation and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, you don't even watch the show, like you don't know what I'm talking about.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's unbelievable, and it just makes me think about cancel culture in general. And I can't believe that they're trying to cancel me. Like, what? I'm nobody. You know?
I think Hollywood is pushing that agenda a little too much, and for you to point it out, the logic of it is not bad at all. And I also think to get full acceptance in society in general, you got to be able to fucking lighten up and take some of this stuff as a group. You can't be so sensitive that someone like Pat Duffy, a working man, a blue collar guy with 2 kids that he's trying to, feed, makes a logical comment about The Walking Dead. That's something you should be able to say, and you get attacked for that.
Oh yeah, and it's like, even this morning I was like, oh, it's got to be calmed down by now, and I like went on and checked it, and it's still like 90 plus notifications. Like, you people still haven't let it go. Just forget about it.
Over the years, with the controversy I've had doing the radio show and beyond, and every once in a while you get yourself in a situation. The cake stomp comes to mind. Yeah. And then you realize you got this tsunami of hate coming your way. And at first you think you could pick them off and explain yourself. Like, no, you got to understand the whole story. We knew the guy, blah, blah, blah. And you'll get some that'll go, oh, okay, now that you explain that to me, that's okay. And then you see more and more and more hate. And you realize it's just a tsunami and it's just going to completely take you out. So what I end up doing, and it's happened over the years, I just realized I got to just shut her down. I shut her down for about a week, and then I finally come back, and you'll see just a couple bloops coming in still. Bloop. It's not that out-of-control hate where they wish just terrible things on you and your family. I'm like,
oh, yeah.
You saw this video, and you think I was purposely hating a homeless guy, which is simply not true, and I don't feel like explaining it here. But then it justifies the hate that you're going to throw at me? What's this? That doesn't make sense.
No. And, they, according to them, like, that's just one of the times you did it. It just happened to catch it on camera. That's your hobby.
Yeah, that's what my life is. I wander around New York making homeless lives miserable. I'm like, no, you idiot. It was also done for a show. Whatever. Yeah. I mean, just explaining this now will get everyone fired up. It's funny you mentioned the cancel culture and what you can and can't say, because on Twitter, right before I turn this thing on, PETA is in the news today. Are you ready for this? You know there's words out there we're not allowed to say anymore, right? I was always against that because I said, look, you take one word out of society, then every group is going to want their word out. And fast forward, that's exactly what's happening. And now it's all the way down to PETA. PETA's pissed off because people use animals as insults. They say using animals as insults perpetuates speciesism. Did you know this was a term, Pat Duffy? If you call someone a chicken, they don't like that, PETA. Because you're basically saying that animals are less than. And look, I love animals. And the fact is, until I see them waiting for a bus alongside us, I consider them. So instead of saying chicken, they usually say coward. Instead of saying rat, they want you to say snitch. Instead of saying snake, they want you to say jerk. Instead of saying pig, they want you to say repulsive. And instead of sloth, they want you to say lazy. So the funny thing about the PETA thing is the fact that they have no problem with you insulting people, which I think is the real issue here. You probably should be nicer to your fellow human beings in general, but they don't have a problem with you insulting your fellow human being. They just don't want you to do it as far as in animal terms go.
They're choosing to be offended for animals that can't understand what we're saying.
Yeah, of course. They don't give a shit. They just want to lick their balls and try to find their next meal.
Literally, like I have 2 dogs, and their entire priority in life is pissing, shitting, and eating. Yeah, and they don't know the concept of being offended by anything, and yet these guys wake up and they go, you know what? I'm going to be pissed off for a dog today. Like who cares? Yeah. You're
defending an animal that doesn't give 2 shits.
Yeah. You know what I like to do? I mean, you could trace this to the source, but I like to when there's always like that theory where people get like cancel culture, like someone was offended at the use of the word amen, so they use a woman. And what I like to do is like I hear about the outrage over people being mad about it, and I like to try and trace it back to like who is the original person sitting in their dorm room who was like, you know what, I'm mad about amen today, and I try to find it, and it's hard, like it's really hard to trace that stuff back, and it's almost like it was originally said maybe like in jest, like tongue in cheek, and then blown out of proportion, and then it gets taken seriously. So maybe somebody was sitting at PETA and they were like, you know what? I bet you that would really make a dog mad if I called it, an idiot or whatever. And they're like, oh yeah, and then it snowballs, and now they're organizing on campus to protect the dog's feelings.
I think it's all BS, and I think there's a whole group of people out there. They're spending most of their days trying to find the next thing to be pissed off about when it wasn't a problem to begin with. Everyone is part of a tribe, right? A lot of tribalism going on in society now. And so if you're part of a tribe, you're trying to get points for your particular tribe, and this is how they do it. But the fact is, no one thinks twice when they see a disgusting human being gorging out at a fast food joint, and you're mumbling under your breath, excuse me, what a fucking pig. Now they want you to say, what a fucking repulsive person? I mean, it's just as bad. Come on.
Well, remember Fatty Pig Fatty? That's it. You can't do that. Repulsive person.
That Fatty Pig Fatty contest was, I think that explained the Opie and Anthony show perfectly, because do you remember when those women came out? They were like rock stars. It wasn't like a Carrie moment where we brought these really big human beings on a stage and pointed and laughed. They were out of their fucking mind. And the women owned it. The crowd was all about, giving them props for having the balls to do this. And I guess the contest was we were trying to find the heaviest woman in the country, basically.
I mean, I'll bring it up, but I find it really funny that that Sirius XM, all I listen to now are podcasts. Like I got rid of Sirius XM a long time ago, like even before you guys were done, because I just got tired of paying for it. And so I've moved on to podcasts. Like I don't listen to regular radio, and it blows my mind that a company like that, and you said this before, but they'll still choose to pay a guy like Howard Stern $100 million. Yeah. Or whatever, you know what I mean? And it's it blows my mind, because everywhere you go online and people talk about Sirius XM, which in reality they're not talking about Sirius XM. They talk about how shitty the music sounds, how dumb the talk channels are, how they don't use even the traffic channels or the weather channels or anything like that. And it's not a sustainable business model. I mean, I'm no expert, obviously. Nobody I know has satellite radio, even period. And it blows my mind that they think it's still as relevant as they do.
That's all they got. I mean, when I was there, you had a lot of very lazy executives, especially the middle guys. Right. And they just sat in those offices. You wondered what the hell they even did. And they just figured if they have Howard Stern, that's all they need. That's their business model. And God bless them. I think it was successful for a very, very long time. But they never set themselves up for the future. And that's why they had to sign Howard again, because without Howard, they know so many people are going to just drop their service. But he's not bringing it anymore at all. So they're in this weird gray area where they wasted years trying to set up the future. They got this old relic that isn't the same fucking guy whatsoever. And they know that Howard's just holding him hostage, basically, and they have to pay him whatever he wants. I mean, this company still puts satellites in the sky. And there was a time that made all the sense in the world. And I remember watching those rocket launches where they're like, a brand new satellite for Sirius XM. And it was exciting. And it felt new, like new technology, new media. But now, that sounds so ridiculous. Look at what we're doing. This is just on my stupid phone. We're not bouncing off the satellite that's orbiting the Earth right now. It's all about podcasting now. Back in the day, Eric Logan sat me down. He said, that Wi-Fi and broadband was going to be the big fucking thing. So embrace that. And he also said that it's going to be all about podcasts. And I was making, I got to be honest. I was making too much money. I mean, you never can make too much money, but I was doing well as far as money goes, and we had huge success. So I also failed by looking at the future. I went to Eric Logan, like, yeah. We're set up nice here. We're talking to millions of people. We're making really good money. Yeah. But never thought about the future. And if I started a podcast when Eric Logan told me, this was like even pre Mark Maron. Holy, I'd be a rock star at the podcasting game. But now I got in when everybody and their stupid mother thinks they could do this, which is so frustrating. And the other thing, then I listened to Eric Logan and we started building out that channel and we started grabbing people that did have podcasts early on. You know, guys like, I don't know, Joe Rogan and Bill Burr. They were actually on the weekends on our channel, right?
Yeah, I remember. I used to help program it.
I brought them on board and I made those deals. And then Bill Burr famously came to me and said, look, Ope, I'm at a point in my career, I need to start making money from my content. And I understood that because a lot of guys, when they're coming up, they're just so grateful to be on the Opie and Anthony show because, we're going to sell them more tickets.
Right.
It got to the point with Bill Burr, he didn't need that anymore. He was doing really well. And he's like, look, I'm not asking for a lot of money, but I'm finally to a point in my career. I need to get paid for my content. I go, I understand that, Bill,
Yeah.
And he wasn't holding anybody up. So I went to stupid Don Wicklund, who went to the bosses at Sirius XM. And he famously said that we don't need, ready for this? We don't need Bill Burr or Joe Rogan on the channel. I'm like, you guys you don't know what the fuck you're doing. Joe Rogan didn't even want money at the time. He was on the weekends, and Don Wicklund decided, because these guys can't think out of the box. They're like, well, we'll put some podcasts and other shows on the weekend, but they got to fit in like hour blocks.
Yeah, I remember that.
Rogan famously came to me and he's like, yo, look, I love being on your channel. I'm a big fan of you and Anthony, and I love what you guys do, but I can't have my show chopped up. All I'm asking is you play the entire show in its entirety on the weekend. So I go back to Don, who went to Boston. So I don't want to completely blame Don because he officially wasn't making any of these decisions, but he was the go-between. He comes back to me and goes, we don't need Joe Rogan. And now look, Joe Rogan and Bill Burr are literally the biggest fucking guys out there right now. It's just stupid. I mean, I truly am glad that I'm no longer part of that company. I mean, I'm not doing as well as I did when I was there, but I have to say I'm way happier.
Sitting here talking to me is not your ideal career choice.
You're fucking good at this, bro. It's stupid that I just focused on you and your stunts back in the day because you certainly could talk about shit.
Well, the kid's got the gab, That's how it is.
Yeah. With your daughter at daycare, are you worried that other kids and parents aren't doing the right thing and keeping their kids safe from this stupid coronavirus?
Well, the way, like in the beginning, I was terrified. Like, you know what I mean? Like in the beginning, I was really worried about it. And then they closed daycare. So I was home with both the kids for a long time. And then they opened it up. I live in New Jersey, and the state was like, we'll open up daycares for essential workers. And I'm considered an essential worker. I'm quote unquote considered a first responder, but so they opened it up just for that, and we let her go back for that. And I was just like, well, if she's gonna get it, she's gonna get it, and then we're gonna get through it and figure it out. And so far, so good. Like all the people there wear masks. Like you walk in, you got to do one at a time, do temperature checks, you got to do hand sanitizer, the whole deal. So like they've been pretty careful so far. So knock on wood, so far so good.
Yeah, I was at the butcher yesterday. And we were talking about it, and a young guy like yourself, probably early to mid 30s, and I ask everybody. I just want to get the feel of what's going on out there. And you know what? Everyone's wearing masks. It's kind of funny when the mask debate happens because in my stupid little world, it's tiny. I don't see a lot of people, but everyone is wearing a fucking mask. Yeah. Some are being dicks and letting it fall below their nose and whatnot. That's how they're showing that they're defiant. But whatever. Right. I'm at the butcher, and I asked the guy, and he goes, just like you just said, he goes, at first I was terrified, And then I went through a period like I didn't think it was a big deal at all. And then he said what changed him was that people around him were dying from it. The deal with this stupid thing is you just simply don't know. I believe most of us will be okay if we get it. Yes, of course. But you don't know if you're going to get the sniffles or if you're going to die from this stupid thing.
My parents just got the vaccine.
Really?
Yeah, my parents, because my mom had cancer in 2018, and she beat it. No, she beat it. You know, she's good to go, but she's like highly immunocompromised. So they her doctor called her and was like, "We want to vaccinate you and your husband." And my mom's one of those people like you who literally walked in her house in March and has not been out since.
Yeah,
and I can't blame her. You know, I can't blame her. So they went and got their first round of the vaccination last week.
Right on. No, I think if I was your age, I absolutely would look at this differently. But I have no choice. I'm the age I am, so I'm definitely more worried than the 30-year-olds out there. So and Brother Weeze, he's suffering, man. I'm really worried about Brother Weeze up there in Rochester. Well, actually, he lives in Florida half the time, and he caught coronavirus down in Florida. Damn. He was still doing his radio show, just still kicking ass, but sounding like crap, and he has a crappy voice to begin with. Right. And he hasn't been on the radio in the last 2 days, and I don't know, man. He's got it really bad, so we're just fucking hoping for the best. We were able to get him on the antibodies treatment, so we're hoping that kicks in, and that's what he's hoping. He said it's like a 50-50 chance that it kicks in and saves your fucking life. I'm like, Jesus. Yeah.
I've had a couple of people like relatively close to me get it, and it's like they don't taste or smell for 2 weeks and then they're fine. Yeah. Or like my brother-in-law got it, and he was like on death's door for like 10 days.
Wow.
Yeah, and he's younger than me. He's like in his 20s.
Yeah.
And like I heard that he was sick, and I was like, oh, I hope he's all right. And then I found out like 3 days later that he hasn't gotten out of bed in 5 days, and he feels like he's going to die, and, he doesn't have the strength to get up and take a leak. Like, it hits everybody different. But he's all good now. Like, he wrote it out, and he's fine.
Beautiful. I'm glad to hear. Well, listen, Pat, my dog's literally, it's too much information, I understand, but he's sniffing my ass. So that means he's got it dumped somewhere on that beach. So I got to. And I just realized that I got to wake the kids up. Oh, my God. I got lost talking to you here.
Some would say I'm doing the same thing as your dog. So enjoy yourself.
I think we talked about it, but what was your favorite bit you did on the old Opie and Anthony show? Let's end with that. What was your favorite? Because a lot of people would say Baby Bird by far, I think. But what was your favorite one you ever did for the show?
My personal favorite would be probably the dog shit toothbrush.
Oh God!
And only because of the like Baby Bird was really cool and all, but that was like in the beginning nobody knew who I was, and then that was my opportunity to do it again. Right. And then and then show people that I could do that again, and think of something better, in my eyes, better. And it was like my opportunity to just prove that I'm not just going to do this one thing and then ride it. And then there was that. And then, I really enjoyed like when you guys would just bring me in and like I would occasionally get a funny line off, and it was like, certain situations. Like I got line of the day like 3 times. I remember that. That was a good time. And and we like, it wasn't one necessarily like one event. I remember on Fridays we'd have the bleachers come in and we'd pull them into the studio. And those were just the funnest shows. Like that's how I ended up getting kicked in the nuts. That's how I staple my face and all that. Like that was a really good time. So I'd say the Baby Bird was my foot in the door, and then the dog shit toothbrush was the stepping off point.
Right on. Rachel, who's a newer listener / fan / friend, I would say at this point. She's been checking out these live streams since I started them a while ago when I was just playing old episodes. She just wrote, it's too early. A dog shit toothbrush. He's puking.
To make it extremely long story short, we were feuding with another show. Right. And another guy they were doing stuff with shit, human shit. Yeah. And the challenge was made that we couldn't top. I think he put his shit in a hat. And I came up with the idea that because the other guy that we were dealing with on the show was supposedly crazy and would do anything, it didn't matter. So I said, you know what nobody's going to do is nobody's going to brush their teeth with dog shit. And
Right.
I said, well, if there's anybody that's going to do it, it's going to be this guy. And
Yeah.
I lived with my brother at the time, and he had 2 dogs, Volkswagen and Juniper. And
Yeah.
I went out in the yard and picked up a piece of dog shit, and I smuggled it across state lines on public transport, and I brushed my teeth with it in the studio.
Oh my God. When I look back on the Opie and Anthony show, there were a couple dark periods. Okay. The one was when we started focusing on, God, there's no other way to say it. So shit humor.
Yeah.
Like we just got obsessed with that for a while, and we were on regular radio doing this crap.
I know.
And we were a really, really funny show, and we had all the top comedians coming in, some of the guys way before they were even famous. And I don't know, sometimes I feel like we probably focused on that a little too much.
Yeah, we didn't need to do that.
And then at the end of a run, when me and Anthony, not only were we not getting along, I mean, we didn't really get along for the most part, but we at least figured out how to work together. We started down the gay route, and I remember we did a bit where we invited straight guys in that were so desperate for money, and they were doing, let's just say, some acts to try to win money. And I remember Anthony looked at me and I looked at him, and you gotta know, we did not like each other at all, and we were barely looking at each other, and we certainly weren't working together anymore. And I remember the look in his eyes, and I had the same look, and I think we were saying to each other like, fuck, this is over. I tapped out. Anthony definitely tapped out, and Jimmy was still all gung-ho trying to make it to work. I guess God bless him, because, we still had a radio show to do. But I remember me and Anthony looking at each other like, what are we doing at this point? We don't need to be doing this insane, crazy shit.
It's like watching Fonzie's, jump over the sharks. In midair, you look at each other.
I'll never forget that look that we had towards each other, like, maybe it's time. But then, the whole show imploded on its own, whatever. But
you should text them about it today, maybe.
Yeah. All right, Pat, listen, I gotta get my kids up, and for real, I gotta get my dog out on that beach. But this was a pleasure.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you having me.
And why don't you promote that Instagram again? Now, remember, back in the day when you promoted something on the old Opie and Anthony show, people would text me and call me and go, holy shit, I just got 10,000 new followers. Now you're going to get another maybe 10 on your Instagram account.
Which is fine by me, because it's literally just pictures of my kids and, random things that I see. And my Instagram is Pat F. and Duffy. So please flock to it by all means.
All right, there you go, Pat Duffy. Thanks, my friend.
Thanks for having me, man. Later.
Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Boo, 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 boo. Radio. Boo, 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 boo. Boo 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 boo. Boo 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 boo.